Welcome back to another episode of The Takeover with Sumaya, and in this very episode, we are going to get tips from an expert, tips about how you can actually ace any tech job interview. Our guest is going to introduce himself and you'll get to know more about him. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you. I'm called Amos Baryashaba. I am a member of staff at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Specifically, I work as a principal IT officer, and I've served in MAS for quite a while, for more than 14 years, dealing with technology and its application in a university setting. I'm glad to be here, and I hope that this discussion will be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and I really hope this video becomes useful to each and everyone that will view it. So as someone who has been in this field for so long, can you give us a brief overview about the whole job interview process in the tech field?
Okay, thank you. One thing we have to appreciate when talking about anything to do with technology is that technology has changed over time. The kind of technologies we access are not the ones we were accessing 10 or 15 years ago. The way we were using technology is not the same anymore. So likewise, the job, if you call it the job interview process for technological jobs, has also changed. When you are vying to fill a tech position, what is very important is the value you can add. What are you bringing in? It's not so much about what you probably know or how well you can talk in front of people, but more importantly, it's the value you can add to an organization, or if you are into the business of innovation, what new thing can you bring? What value can you add? So in line with the tech world, it's important for those seeking to find employment in technology to see themselves as people who are selling themselves. They are selling a product. Look at yourself as a product. It's important for you to stand out and look at yourself as a product, something that can make a difference, something that can add value. So for me, I think that is the difference we are faced with nowadays. It's important that you look at yourself as something different. Yeah.
All right. Now, as someone who has been on several tech interview panels, what are those common mistakes you've seen among the candidates?
Of course, for anything you do in this world, it's important that you prepare. Yeah. I think the biggest mistake I've seen are situations where the candidates don't seem to have prepared well enough. So the question is, how do you prepare? Or how do you make yourself ready to face a tech panel? And the shortcut to preparation in the tech world is being skilled. So it will never be possible that you can prepare for a tech interview overnight. You have to develop your skill over time. It could take years, it could take months. You have to make sure that, and that's how you will practice in the tech world. You make sure you learn as much as you can, expose yourself, put yourself in situations where you will learn whether you like it or not. So that's the only way you can prepare, in my view. And once you face the panel, because you've been through the thick and thin, you'll be confident enough and you'll be able to overcome any issues.
All right. Now, once let's say I've not been able to handle the mistakes, I've forgotten how to prepare, or yes, I've prepared, or still I didn't go through the interview. How can I prepare myself to avoid these mistakes in the future?
Well, first I've said that, like I said in my previous statement, the best way of making sure, in my view, that you don't make mistakes is the preparation. And I say that the preparation comes over time. But of course, that doesn't mean that you don't prepare immediately before the interview. So of course, you have to prepare. If it's an organization, you may need to know a little more about the organization. What does the organization do? What do they stand for? What are their objectives? What are their values? And so on. So that's the part of preparation, knowing about the organization. Two, of course, from a technical angle, obviously, I would assume that you know the position you are vying for, you know what the position is all about, you know the roles that the position will expect you to perform. So it's important that you prepare along those lines. Even assuming that you've been doing this kind of exercise or practice over the time, it's important that you take time and be well conversant with the roles that you're expected to do. Yeah.
So some job descriptions require people to showcase their portfolios, other projects they've worked on. Do these projects have an impact on a candidate being selected or not?
Yeah. Of course, the question would be, how often do job interviews provide you that opportunity? In my experience, I think most interview panels offer a very short time for candidates to present themselves or even to showcase what they're able to do. That's the real experience. Unless it is competitions where you are allowed to present a specific product over a period of time, demonstrate it. But usually for job interviews, it's a very short time for you to create an impression about whatever you've done, innovation, product or something. So it brings me back to my first point, where you have to sell yourself, not just for the sake of the interview, but throughout your time in the tech world. So whatever opportunity you have to demonstrate, you should give it a shot. It might have added advantage in the circumstance that you're appearing before a panel. So I don't think many interview panels provide the opportunity for you to really showcase. But my view is that the best way of going about that is for you to use any opportunity. If it's an exhibition, please show up. If it is a presentation and a call has been made for students, for young innovators to come up and showcase, please do that. For me, that would be a better opportunity for you to showcase than expecting to do it at the interview panel.
All right. I understand tech job interviews can come up with some stress and nervousness from the candidates. How best can the candidates handle the stress and the nervousness that comes along with this?
Of course, it goes back to my first point. Unfortunately, I keep repeating it.
Yeah.
One, preparation. So when you prepare well enough, you could most likely be more confident. Yeah, because once you're confident, then it helps you overcome those jitters. So in my view, preparation is key. And like I said in the beginning, preparation is a journey. It's not something you'll do overnight. It starts probably from the first time you go to school, from the entire learning process, from the entire exposure process. So preparation is key. Then use every opportunity to practice. Okay?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're appearing before a panel for the very first time, it might be very difficult. So use your opportunity to appear before a group of people, to present yourself, to showcase your project, to answer questions. So it's also a journey. So right from school to any other opportunity you will have to stand before people and talk about yourself and what you have to offer. So for me, I think that's the best way of preparing. Otherwise, going into it for the very first time will be very challenging.
Okay, yeah. That has been noted.
Yeah.
And on some interview panels, there is always that time given for the candidate to ask questions to the interviewer.
Yes.
What thoughtful questions can candidates always ask?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because from time to time they will always ask you to ask the panel. Yes, and sometimes, or most of the times, I would want the candidate to use it as their advantage, or to the best of their advantage. One is that ask a question that will show that you are inquisitive to learn, that you are someone who would want to learn more, not just about technology, but about the world in general. It's an opportunity that you would use to trigger the panel to know that you are a lifelong student. Okay, because I think it's a very important trait in your work life. So it's important for you to ask a question that would show the panel that you can be able to learn for life. Yeah.
All right. What are those red flags interviewers always look out for in candidates?
The red flags, of course, for most interview sessions, there will always be a guide. There is a guide. I don't think many interviews are done off cuff, so there is always a guide. There is always what you would call an interview guide and a checklist. So usually, if marks are being awarded, they are being awarded against that guide. So some of the things that usually compose that checklist would act as those red flags you're asking about. One is presentation. How do you appear? In the tech world, of course, the tech world doesn't take too serious the issue of formality. Yeah, it's not very common for you to see someone in the tech world wearing suits or ties or so on. But nevertheless, you have to present a very good level of presentability. Yeah, be in such a position that if someone meets you, they get a very good impression of you, however way you're dressed. So you may want to be neat, you may want to be smart, you may basically want to be impressive in your presentation. Two is communication. Yeah, you have to put your message across in one or the other with ease and without those other issues like the nervousness you are saying. So they look out usually for communication. However good you are technically, at the end of the day, you will have to communicate, be it to your boss, be it to your colleagues. They could be subordinates, they could be clients. So that's another test for you to be able to show that you can communicate across. Yeah, and of course, how you handle questions is also important. Some questions will be thrown at you to test your general knowledge. Some questions may be thrown at you to test your technical skills. Some may be thrown at you to test your patience. So yeah, they are different. All those aspects of the interview guide, in my view, are flags. So depending on how you perform, it matters in the interview process.
That's quite interesting. How can techies innovatively negotiate their salary on an interview panel?
That's another very tricky question usually for interviewers. It starts from a candidate being able, and there is no shortcut about this. It's a candidate being able to tell their worth. Yeah, and it goes back to the very first statement I made. What value are you bringing to the organization? So it all starts with how much skill you've been able to expose yourself to. Once you're comfortable and once you're confident about the skill set you're bringing to an organization, then it gives you the confidence to negotiate. It gives you the confidence to know how worth you weigh, what your value is. So it starts at that point. You can't negotiate if you don't know how much you cost. So you know best how much you've probably studied. You know best how much you've invested in time and money, if you've invested in computers and so on. So you know very well how much you've invested. You know your own value. So it starts at that point for you to know what your value is. So from that basis, you will have a standard. You will have your standard, you will have your minimum standard. And say, for me, if I don't feel that my time would be worthy anything below this amount. So it starts there, the confidence, the knowledge and confidence to know that I have this value attached to me. Then of course, once you're confident, you can put out your point confidently without looking like you are being too, if I could use the word, too greedy. You put it out in a subtle way for the panel to understand that this is what you believe you can offer the company. Yeah.
All right, as we conclude, could you please give us any words of encouragement to someone out there looking for a job in tech?
Yeah, of course. Technology is the way to go now. Even for me, who has been in this space for quite a while, if I would grow any younger, I think I would have many more opportunities than I have been able to see through the years. So one word of encouragement is that it's a road that can bring a lot of opportunity in the world we are in today. So that's the first word. Anyone who has personal interest in technology is probably on the right track. That is one. Two is that there is a lot to learn now. We have so many opportunities. The world, because of, again, technology, the world has made information and learning accessible. You don't have to go to university for you to learn about technology. You can access it from wherever. You can collaborate with people you've never met physically in different parts of the world. So that allows you to grow your skill. That allows you to know much more. That allows you to work with many other people. Then again, in relation to the conversation we've been having, the interview. Yes, in as much as we still have interviews for tech jobs, it's important for you to know that in a way, it is something that is fading away. Because again, because we have technology, again, because we can share resources, there are provisions for you to sell yourself even without sitting before a panel. Many of you have heard of social media platforms like LinkedIn. Yeah, you can create a very wonderful profile about yourself in the area where you've decided to specialize. You can build your product around that, a message around you as a product, and sell yourself to the world. So that if someone is searching for good programmers in Uganda, they will most likely land on your profile. So you can put your resume, you can put all the projects you've handled there. And instead of actually facing a panel, you will be found. And one thing you have to know as well is that even in modern human resource management, in recruitment, the interview process is no longer the only way of recruiting candidates into an organization. There is something we call headhunting, where people headhunt for talent. And like I said throughout our discussion, one way for you to showcase yourself at whatever opportunity you have to present, for people to know about yourself, to be able to tell people what you can offer. And who knows, you could be headhunted. Who knows, your profile on social media, on LinkedIn, can be able to attract some eyes, and you will be headhunted instead of being the interview. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing these amazing tips and all the information you've given us. I hope it helps someone out there who watches this video. Yeah. And if in case you haven't subscribed, feel free to hit that button and turn the notification bell on so that you don't miss out on any upcoming video. Till the next episode.